We've got the Mazda 3, and what's new? A turbo engine.
Last year they had an all-wheel drive. Now they've added a turbocharged engine. We're going to see if it adds up to some fun. So Andrea, what do we have to put it in?
We got to put it in S for subscribe. And if you can hit the notification bell, we would love you for it. It really helps support the channel.
And Andrea's Instagram is motormouth_Andrea. Looking good twirling in front of this Mazda 3. And if you want to follow me, what is it?
It's motormouth_auto.
This video is brought to you by Car Cost Canada. Get the dealer's cost, list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. Use the promo code MOTORMOUTH to become an expert member and get extra searches. The link is in the description below. Okay, Andrea, we're going to do 0 to 100 kilometer an hour runs up a hill and then on the flat. Good idea, right?
It sounds like a great idea. It was actually one of our Instagram followers' idea.
We're all set up. I'm going to count 3, 2, 1, then you hit it.
Okay.
We're in sport mode.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. And I'll tell you when to stop when we get to 100K. 60, 70, 80, 90. Stop.
8.73. I'm ready.
We're on the flat now. In 3, 2, 1, go. 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and stop.
7.68.
That's not great for a 300-pound-foot torque car.
I feel like we got to do it again.
We're going to do it again.
We're clear.
Okay.
Okay.
And a little bit of throttle. And 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh my goodness. I got it bang on.
And stop.
6.76.
So 3/4 of a second quicker with a little bit of...
So that was helpful that you did that.
Yeah, but still not earth-shattering.
Yeah, I was hoping for a little bit more.
Yeah. Now, we did those acceleration tests.
We did.
0 to 100 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
And the car that we were shooting from was the Mercedes-Benz GLA.
Yes.
Now, not a direct competitor to this, but that
No.
same engine, platform, all-wheel drive system, and all of that is used in the A-Class.
That's right. And I was a little bit surprised. It was a tie.
All in all, over many runs, it was pretty much a tie, which really surprised me because what's the Mercedes-Benz horsepower?
So the Mercedes-Benz is 221 and it has 258 pound-foot of torque, but it does have an 8-speed automatic transmission, and this has a 6-speed.
So let's get into the overall feel of this car, what you thought it was going to be, and what it is.
So I was super excited to hear we were getting the Mazda 3 Turbo, of course, because I thought, wow, this is going to be so exciting. It's different than I thought. It has the power and the torque.
It's got lots of torque.
Tons, but it's not as exciting. Maybe a little bit more polished.
It could be polished to the point of they've taken out an edge. There isn't much of an edge to this car at all. If you're looking for a really snappy, exciting, hot hatch, this isn't it.
No. Now it handles well. It takes corners well. But
They've smoothed everything out.
Yeah.
And this is the whole target with this GT trim with the all-wheel drive and the turbo. By the way, it's only sold in the GT trim. We'll get into all the pricing in a moment. But they really want to move this top trim up market and compete with luxury brands.
yes, sure. Now, speaking of the drive again, I use the paddle shifters a lot because I really wanted to kind of get that roar of the engine, but it's so quiet.
Yeah, it's like we're driving along now and it's super quiet, which goes to that whole luxury thing. But what's
Yes.
interesting, so the GLA is the same platform as the A-Class, same engine, everything. That feels more exciting than this.
Yeah, for sure. It feels way more exciting.
It sounds better?
Oh, you just hear the engine, and if you use the paddle shifters, wow, it is. Okay, look, there's a little bit of a roar. We were trying to figure out this turbo, maybe more of a swoosh.
Yeah.
You kind of compared it to a diesel
Without
a
the noise.
bit.
Without the noise of
Yeah.
a diesel, the power delivery is like a really good diesel engine. If you've ever driven one of those,
Yes.
you get this torquey bottom end swoosh, and it delivers this satisfying torquey feel, but it's not punchy.
You know, we were talking about this in the whole luxury market, and this as a daily driver is excellent.
Yeah.
It's so comfortable.
It's so quiet.
Yeah, you've got the power, especially on the highway for passing, that maybe that's more what people are looking for, and I'm the odd man or odd woman out who wants more of a hot hatch.
Well, that's the thing. Obviously Mazda has done their homework, and they probably feel there's more luxury car intenders that want all of the features, because this car's loaded, with lots of torque and a luxury kind of feel without the badge.
Yeah.
Compared to the hot hatch crowd, which is being served by the GTI and the Golf R and the WRX, right?
Yes.
Even though the WRX isn't a hatch, but you get the idea. So when we get to the pricing in a moment, I think you're going to see a very clear story from the position Mazda has and where they think they're going to go with this car. But
Yeah.
you have had premium cars for 20 years, Andrea.
I have.
And would you, as a premium car intender, buy a non-premium nameplate even though it offered a lot more value?
If I'm making a stretch, if I'm really stretching, then no. This is going to be my top contender. If I can afford it, why wouldn't I buy the luxury brand?
That's the conundrum, right? That's the story. That's the whole thing about this car. It's unique.
For your consideration, 4 categories and 4 vehicles for you to consider.
So the first category we chose is closest direct competition, and we picked the Subaru WRX, which is about $39,500.
Now, the gold standard in the hatchback category, of course, is the Volkswagen Golf GTI. I know it's not all-wheel drive. It has the same horsepower as this, but it is the gold standard for hatchbacks.
The next category is premium alternative, and we picked the Mercedes-Benz A-Class hatchback or the sedan if you're choosing a sedan.
And the SUV alternative to this is so obvious. E30 is the exact same powertrain, platform, engine, all-wheel drive system as this, but sold as a slightly different looking SUV. So there you go. There's 4 cars for your consideration. So those are some competitors that you can consider. But Andrew, we haven't even talked about the numbers of this engine. What are we working with?
I know. It's got 250 horsepower, 320 pound-foot of torque. It's in a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. And it's pretty sweet. Like, you really feel that power.
But you can also run it on regular gas. It does adjust the numbers a little bit.
It does. But, I mean, isn't that a great option that if you don't want to use premium fuel,
Yep.
you can use regular? Maybe you would use premium if you're going on a bit of a road trip?
Sure, going through the mountains or something like that. So it's 227 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. So only a 10 pound-foot torque drop if
Not
you
a
go.
lot.
No, and that's what you're noticing. That's the thing about this engine. It has this torquey feel to it. So this is the GT trim, and it comes really nicely equipped. There's only one package that you can get, which is called the premium package.
That's right. And that's $1,700 for the premium package.
So for your money, for $1,700, you get a slightly different wheel, the wheels that you see here. You get the head-up display, smart brake support, rear smart brake support, front and rear parking sensors, front wiper de-icers.
You get quite a bit.
You
in
get
the
a lot of
premium
stuff.
package.
360 view monitor. So would you pay the money for that? It's
I
$1,700.
would, yeah, because I want the front, I
And
want
rear
the
parking.
sensors, yeah.
And you know what? It's only like a few dollars more a month.
That's right.
For people who are buying this or leasing it.
Yeah.
And that's the way cars are sold these days.
But you know, it does come well equipped
It's
with
loaded.
standard features.
It's loaded. The
right?
car's
Even
loaded.
if you don't get the premium package.
Now, the interior is a standout. We believe for Mazda cars, this is what makes them easily transition into this tweener between mainline and luxury,
Yeah.
because they have this look and this interior.
I gotta say, this interior is just beautiful. It's simple, but elegant and modern. And my favorite part about it is the center console, because everything is at my fingertips.
But I like having a sort of controller wheel.
Well, I kind of miss that from our Audi.
I agree with
really
you.
enjoyed that.
Yeah, I love it. I love the volume knob there, the soft touch materials, the dash pad. It looks like a luxury car on the inside, except for the Mazda logo.
And it's got the heated steering wheel, heated front seats.
The steering wheel is only heated at 9 and 3. It's
Yes.
not all the way around. That's a bit of a an emission. You should eat the whole
I
steering wheel.
think the whole steering wheel. But I got to tell you, the heated seats, wow, does my butt ever get hot? I mean, it is warm. Amazing, really.
So are you saying you got a hot ass?
I'm just saying that my seats get a little bit warm. That's all I'm saying.
All right, you know what? It's time for a coffee.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
Is the Mazda 3 quiet inside? Well, maybe a little bit too quiet for a hot hatch.
Yeah.
How does this Mazda 3 Turbo compare with entry-level offerings from Audi, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz? Should they be cross-shopped with the Mazda 3? Well, that's really what Mazda is hoping for.
Yeah. So 2 years ago, when the GT trim, this is the one they're comparing, the GT trim was just front-wheel drive, 7% of people considered it against a premium car. They added all-wheel drive. It moved up to 21% of people cross-shopped, and they're thinking adding turbo, it's going to be even more. So that's their plan, and I think it's going to work.
Impressive numbers. Any torque steer effect? No, nothing.
Nope.
Really well done. How do you find ease of access into the seats? The roofline looks a little low. Well, getting in is fine. I find the front seats okay, but the back, you definitely feel a bit cramped.
Yeah, claustrophobic. The windows are small. The roof feels low. It isn't
does.
low. It just feels low.
Just feels low. How does the all-wheel drive compare to the SH all-wheel drive of Acura?
Well, I'd really like to drive this in the snow. The super handling all-wheel drive has been updated again. I think it's their 4th generation of it. I will tell you that they have modified the all-wheel drive torque distribution on this car to adding more rear-wheel drive bias for exiting corners and acceleration. So that I can tell you. I'd like to drive it in the snow, though. If you want to get a question in, you have to follow along. Andrea's Instagram is motormouth_. Andrea, and you too can be part of Question, Coffee, and Cars.
Cheers.
There's the music. Time for nightlife. So this car came out a couple of years ago, and a big knock against it was they got rid of independent rear suspension, which was one of the hallmarks of this Mazda 3, is it handled so well, and a lot of disappointment from enthusiasts because that's something they look for. So even with this turbo all-wheel drive, still no independent rear suspension.
Right. And I got a question for you. What do you think about not offering a manual transmission? Do you think car enthusiasts will be thinking, ooh, I really need that manual, or not?
If you really need the manual, another brand will sell you a manual transmission. I mean, Golf R is coming next year. It's going to be a lot more expensive than this, but it's going to have more power and a manual transmission. So if that's your jam, you can also get a WRX in the sedan, also with a manual transmission. So I think they've obviously run the numbers on this, and they've realized that the take rate of manual transmission is going to be so small.
Sure.
But you know what? If the other guys get a lot more sales, they might add it.
Yeah, sure.
So is this a practical car?
It really is. Like, tons of storage for a small vehicle. And I went grocery shopping, put loads of bags in. Perfect amount of cargo space. And it's great that there's a standard sunroof. I wouldn't have minded something a little bit bigger. I think just because the roof line is so low, if it did have a larger sunroof, it would open things up a little bit.
So Andrew, you might not know this, but Mazda has some of the best fuel economy in the industry, actually the best corporate average fuel economy. And this one's pretty good.
This one's pretty good. It gets 10.7 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 7.5 on the highway, and an 8.8 combined.
And really not much of a penalty between the non-turbo and the turbo. So the mileage is good. Okay, it's time for a price pause.
So the GT Turbo comes in at $34,600. The GT Turbo with the premium package is $36,300. And then there's also an anniversary edition trim because it is Mazda's 100th anniversary, and that's coming in at $37,100.
So when you look at the pricing, fully loaded, this car, Mazda truly believes, is a premium car alternative.
Yeah.
So let's get into the price of some of the premium cars.
Okay, so the Audi A3 comes in at around $34,000. The Mercedes A-Class hatch comes in around $38,500.
And the ILX from Acura is right around 30. That's actually cheaper. One thing we should mention, the A3 and the ILX are ancient and they're going to be replaced, so probably the A-Class is a better comparison.
Yeah.
So Andrea, final thoughts on this? You like it?
I like it. You know what? It's a great vehicle. Mazda has put out an excellent turbo product.
I think it's going to sell. There's a lot of value. I mean, a lot of value in this car for what you're getting.
This Mazda 3 Turbo isn't exactly what I thought it would be, but the more I drove it, the more I liked it.
Their plan to basically get premium car intenders to try this, I think is going to work. There is a lot of value in this car. This video is brought to you by Car Cost Canada. Get the dealer's cost, list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. Use the promo code MOTORMOUTH to become an expert member and get extra searches. The link is in the description below.